In Mexico, even fame in the music scene can prove fatal. 5 rappers and singers either paid the ultimate price or were forced to cancel shows after running afoul of violent cartels. Their lives and careers upended in an instant, showing how quickly rhythm and ambition can collide with deadly power. These are their stories. In 2006, Valentin Elizalde was a star on the rise, a young singer with a reputation for defying convention in the world of regional Mexican music. Known affectionately as El Gallo de Oro, the Golden Rooster, he embodied the energy that defined narco-corrido culture. Yet behind the charisma and success, there was a growing tension surrounding his art, songs that celebrated some of Mexico's most feared cartel figures. What began as artistic expression would end with a final performance, one of the most shocking and public tragedies in Mexican music history. Valentin Elizalde Valencia was born on February 1, 1979, in the small village of Jitonhueca, Sonora. His father, Everardo Elizalde, also a singer known as El Gallo, died young in a car accident. Following in his father's footsteps, Valentin began performing in the late 1990s, quickly gaining recognition for his off-key yet emotionally charged style. His songs, including Vete Ya, Ebrio de Amor, and Soy Así, earned him fame across Mexico and among migrant communities in the United States. But it was his narco-corridos, songs that paid tribute to figures like Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and Vicente Carrillo Fuentes, that made him both famous and dangerously controversial. By 2006, Valentin was touring nationally and appearing on award stages. That same year, he won Soloist of the Year at Los Premios de la Radio in Hollywood. Yet his growing popularity coincided with rising cartel violence in northern Mexico. His song, A Mis Enemigos, was interpreted as a direct insult to Los Zetas, the violent rival organization to the Sinaloa cartel, whom he had previously honored in his lyrics. Online, gang-related videos featuring his song circulated widely, seen as public taunts between factions. Despite being warned not to perform in Reynosa, a city controlled by Los Zetas, Valentin accepted the booking. On the night of November 25, 2006, the 27-year-old singer took the stage at a local fair in Reynosa, Tamaulipas. Thousands attended, cheering as he performed A Mis Enemigos one last time. He left the venue around 3:30 a.m., stepping into a black Chevrolet Suburban with his manager, Mario Mendoza, his driver, and his cousin Fausto Elizalde. Within minutes of leaving, 2 vehicles followed closely behind. As the SUV slowed at an intersection, gunmen opened fire with automatic weapons, spraying the vehicle with nearly 70 rounds. Valentin was struck at least 8 times. His manager and driver died instantly. Fausto, the only survivor, was seriously wounded. Moments later, videos appeared online showing the aftermath, filmed by bystanders who had captured the harrowing seconds after the shooting. The images of the shattered Suburban and the lifeless body of Mexico's Golden Rooster shocked the nation. It was a brazen act of violence, and the footage spread quickly across the media. Authorities soon launched an investigation, arresting Raul Hernandez Barron, a high-ranking member of Los Zetas, for his alleged role in orchestrating the ambush. The motive appeared clear. Valentin's performance of A Mis Enemigos in cartel territory was seen as an unforgivable provocation. Still, official confirmation remained elusive, as fear and silence dominated the aftermath. 2 days later, on November 27, 2006, thousands gathered in Valentin's hometown of Jitonhueca for his funeral. His body was buried the following day in a family mausoleum in Guasave, Sinaloa. Across Mexico, fans mourned a man whose music had captured both the defiance and the danger of his generation. In the months after his death, his albums dominated the Latin charts. Vencedor, his 2006 release, became the top-selling Latin album of early 2007, and multiple posthumous records followed. Valentin's story became emblematic of the deadly intersection between fame and cartel influence. In a country where art and crime often share the same stage, his death revealed just how dangerous that boundary could be. He was only 25, but his voice had already carved a place in Mexico's booming corrido bellico scene. Choy Montana sang of ambition, loyalty, and the rough edges of border life, songs that blurred the line between fame and danger. On the first week of February 2024, the young performer, whose real name was Jesus Cardenas, stepped into a private celebration in Baja California. By the next morning, he would become another musician silenced in a country where music and organized crime too often cross paths. Jesus was born and raised in Tijuana. In March 2023, his talent caught the attention of Jesus Ortiz Paz, the frontman of Fuerza Regida and head of Street Mob Records, who signed him on the spot after hearing him sing at a border crossing. Within months, his singles Port de Scarfas, Que Bendición, and Polvos de Chanel gained millions of streams. He embodied a new generation of artists reshaping regional Mexican music with raw energy and street-level authenticity. Yet that same authenticity, songs about power and betrayal set against cartel backdrops, made performing increasingly dangerous. On the night of February 6, 2024, Jesus was hired to perform at a private party inside the Dubai Motel in Rosarito. Investigators later said that the guests, many of them armed, had been drinking heavily and using illicit substances. During the event, he began singing songs that did not please one of his aggressors, according to Baja California's Attorney General. The atmosphere shifted from celebration to hostility. Witnesses described an argument escalating into violence as one man, apparently angered by the lyrics or by personal grievances, ordered Jesus restrained. Video evidence recovered by investigators showed Jesus being forced into a vehicle, his hands bound. Inside the car, chaos unfolded. He struggled against his captors, and at one point leapt from the moving vehicle in a desperate attempt to flee. His escape ended abruptly along the Playas de Rosarito-Tijuana highway, where he was shot multiple times, including a fatal wound to the head. His body was discovered the next morning, February 7th, still handcuffed, lying beside an orange Renault stepway. Authorities also found shell casings at the scene. Hours later, another body was found in Tijuana's Buena Vista neighborhood, that of Miguel Pavon, Jesus' driver and friend. He had been kidnapped at the same time, asphyxiated, and left with his hands and feet tied. Near him lay the lid of a styrofoam cooler scrawled with the initials CAF, believed to represent the Arellano Felix cartel. The discovery deepened suspicions that both deaths were linked to organized crime. Prosecutors initially ruled out official cartel involvement, suggesting the killing stemmed from a violent dispute aggravated by intoxication. Still, local reports, combined with the message left beside Miguel's body, pointed to narco-retribution. In earlier interviews, Jesus himself had admitted being pressured to pay protection money to perform safely in certain regions, a grim reality for many musicians in northern Mexico. The aftermath was immediate and raw. Street Mob Records issued a statement mourning our colleague and brother Chi Montana and urged the media to respect his family's grief. Fans flooded social platforms with tributes, sharing clips of him singing in cars and small venues, his voice steady and hopeful. Mexican newspapers described his killing as a brutal reminder of the risks artists face when their work intersects with cartel culture. Tijuana ranks among Mexico's most violent cities, and Jesus' death joined a long list of officially unsolved attacks on musicians whose songs mirror the country's turbulent underworld. Authorities have made one arrest, but investigations into both deaths remain ongoing. Whether his killing began as a quarrel over music or a message from a cartel, the result was the same: a young artist paying the ultimate price for his art. Jesus Cardenas's final performance was meant to entertain. Instead, it exposed the fragile line between rhythm and ruin in the world of corridos bellicos, where the wrong song sung to the wrong crowd can cost a life. The night of May 16, 1992, in Culiacan, Sinaloa, began like any other for Rosalino Chalino Sanchez. The crowd at Salon Bugambilias erupted as the singer took the stage, the rough edges of his voice filling the room with the raw energy that had earned him a devoted following. For years, Chalino had sung the stories of a world few outsiders saw, tales of violence, loyalty, and survival in Mexico. That night, however, a seemingly ordinary gesture made by what people believed was a fan would become an ominous sign, captured on video, hinting at the danger that had quietly followed him across borders and years of fame. Born on August 30, 1960, in the rural area of El Guayabo, Chalino was the youngest of 8 children in a poor Sinaloan family. Violence marked his early life. When he was 15, he shot a man who had assaulted his sister, an act that forced him to flee to California. In the United States, he worked in various menial jobs, washed dishes, sold cars, and even engaged in minor illicit substances dealing, all while building a life shaped by hardship and survival. The killing of his older brother Armando in 1984 inspired Chalino to write his first corrido, Recordando a Armando Sanchez. And from that moment, he began transforming the tragedies and crimes surrounding him into music. His time in prison further honed his craft as he composed songs for fellow inmates, many involved in illegal substances trafficking, transforming their stories into ballads of vengeance and outlaw pride. By the early 1990s, Chalino's reputation had grown beyond the underground cassette trade that had started in Los Angeles. His music resonated across communities in California and northern Mexico, celebrated for its unpolished authenticity. Audiences recognized the lived reality behind the lyrics, killings, standoffs, and the intricate power of cartels depicted in each corrido. Yet fame came with danger. Earlier that year, in January 1992, Chalino survived a shooting during a performance in Coachella, California, where a man in the audience fired at him. Chalino returned fire, unintentionally killing a bystander, and was hospitalized with gunshot wounds, an incident that further cemented his mythic status and made him a star. Returning to his homeland for concerts in the spring of 1992, Chalino was acutely aware of the risks. In Culiacan, Sinaloa, at Salon Bugambilias, mid-performance, a man handed him a folded note. Security footage shows Chalino reading it, his expression flickering briefly before hardening, yet he continued to sing, perhaps unaware that the note likely carried a death threat, or maybe knowing it all too well. Hours later, after leaving the venue with his brothers and friends, he was intercepted by armed men in black SUVs, posing as state police. Video captured the tense moments as Chelino, trusting or resigned, entered the vehicle with his abductors. That night would mark the end of his life. The following morning, May 17, 1992, Chelino's body was found by farmers near an irrigation canal outside Culiacan. His wrists were bound, his eyes blindfolded, and 2 bullets had ended his life with precision in the back of his head. Authorities never solved the murder. While speculation pointed to cartel involvement or revenge connected to his music, no arrests were made, and the investigation faded, leaving only the haunting images of a young man whose life had been entwined with the violent narratives he sang about. Chelino's death, brutal and public, transformed him from a regional performer into a legend. His recordings, already cherished, were posthumously amplified, and his story became a cultural touchstone for Mexican and Mexican-American communities. The brief but chilling footage of him reading the note before his final performance, preserved and circulated, serves as both a testament to his courage and a reminder of the lethal reality faced by artists who sang truths others sought to keep hidden. Chelino Sanchez, the man who gave voice to the underworld, became immortal, a symbol of defiance, artistry, and the intersection of fame and cartels. In the bustling streets of Guadalajara's Oblatos district, 42-year-old rapper Mr. Yossi Lacote was a local icon, his music echoing the grit and struggle of his neighborhood. Known for his vivid lyrics about meth, loyalty, and street life, he commanded respect among fans and rivals alike. Yet in a city where alliances shift as quickly as the verses he spat, Lacote's reputation offered no protection from the shadow of organized crime. Born and raised in Oblatos, Mr. Yossi Lacote rose through the local hip-hop scene, becoming a prominent figure in rap malandro, a subgenre that blends traditional hip-hop with the harsh realities of Mexico's gang culture. He was associated with Florencia 13, a gang originally linked to the Mexican mafia in the United States, and carried the symbols of his clique openly. His music, often produced under the Círculo Asesino label, painted raw portraits of life on the streets, blending West Coast G-funk influences with chilling accounts of gang conflicts and survival. Lacote's connection to his community remained strong. He continued to frequent street corners and local venues, despite growing threats from rival groups. By the early 2010s, Guadalajara's criminal landscape had shifted dramatically. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, known for extreme violence, had emerged as a dominant force, challenging smaller gangs and splinter groups like Nueva Plaza. Turf wars erupted across the city, particularly in Oblatos, escalating homicides and creating a climate of fear. The conflict made street visibility dangerous, even for public figures like Lacote, whose music chronicled and celebrated the same neighborhoods the cartels now controlled. On April 17, 2018, Lacote's presence on the streets proved fatal. Witnesses reported that he was approached near a market in Oblatos by armed men in a black pickup truck. Security footage from nearby establishments captured the last moments before his disappearance, showing his phone still recording as he was forcibly dragged into the vehicle. The incident marked the start of a grim chapter in the city's ongoing violence. 2 days later, on April 19, 2018, Lacote's body was discovered in a vacant lot in western Guadalajara. Authorities reported that a note had been pinned to his chest with a screwdriver. Its message claiming his execution was due to connections with an enemy of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Though widely circulated by media outlets, no concrete evidence substantiated Lacote's alleged affiliation, and no arrests were made. The placement of the note, combined with the method of the killing, underscored the cartel's intention to send a public message, asserting control over the city and the lives of those who challenged it. The aftermath of Lacote's death reverberated across both music and community spheres. Fellow rapper and collaborator Push El Asesino described the incident as emblematic of the peril faced by artists operating within these territories. The death also drew attention to a broader pattern. In the days following Lacote's killing, authorities arrested 24-year-old rapper Christian Palma, known as QBA, who admitted to dissolving the bodies of 3 film students in sulfuric acid on orders from the same cartel. These cases highlighted how quickly artistic expression intersected with lethal power structures, turning musicians into both storytellers and targets. Rap malandro, the genre Lacote helped popularize, now carries the weight of this reality. While critics argue the music glorifies violence, supporters contend it offers a voice and an alternative path for youth in marginalized neighborhoods. Lacote's death, pinned with a menacing note, became a stark example of the hazards artists face in regions where cartels govern not only crime but also social boundaries. His legacy, preserved in music and memory, serves as a somber reminder of a city where fame, artistry, and survival collide under the shadow of organized crime. In the border city of Tijuana, 24-year-old singer Peso Pluma had become a phenomenon, his music echoing from radios, phones, and festival stages across Mexico and beyond. Known for blending corridos with hip-hop and reggaeton, Hassan Emilio Cabande Laija, his given name, had captured the attention of millions while telling stories that straddled the worlds of fame, street life, and the country's criminal undercurrents. Yet in a city long destabilized by cartel rivalries, even rising stardom could draw lethal attention. Born on June 15, 1999 in Zapopan, Jalisco, Pluma began playing guitar in his teens and gradually developed his songwriting, influenced by regional Mexican styles. He gained recognition with early albums, later rising to global prominence with singles like Por las Noches and El Belicón, which included references to Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. His duet with Eslabón Armado, Ella Baila Sola, became the first regional Mexican song to reach the Hot 100's top 10. His albums Genesis and Éxodo both entered the Billboard 200 top 10, cementing his status as one of Mexico's most streamed artists ever. Despite his global success, Hassan remained closely tied to his roots in Guadalajara, performing narco-corrido-inspired songs that often referenced crime, cartels, and weapons. Corridos tumbados, the genre he championed, fuses traditional Mexican corridos with urban music and violent lyrical themes. In Tijuana, a city with a high rate of cartel-related violence and 1,399 reported killings in Baja California during the first 8 months of 2023, such music could draw dangerous scrutiny. In September 2023, Pluma allegedly drew the attention of cartels, with warning signs targeting the singer. Authorities discovered 3 banners, narcomantas, placed across 4 major roads in Tijuana, allegedly initiated by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJN. Red letters on the signs warned that if Peso Pluma performed at the Caliente Stadium on October 14th, it would be his last performance, accusing him of being disrespectful and having a loose tongue. The messages cited his music, particularly songs like El Belicón and Siempre Pendientes, which contained allusions to criminal figures and lifestyle. One man was later detained in Colonia Libertad in connection with the banners, facing charges of terrorism and carrying an illegal substance, emphasizing the terror the messages caused in the community rather than the wording itself. Faced with an imminent threat, Pluma and his label, Double P Records, announced the cancellation of the Tijuana concert, citing the safety of fans, staff, and the artist. The incident underscored how narco-corridos, while popular, place performers in precarious positions caught between artistic expression and the violent realities of organized crime. Previous cases have shown that artists in similar genres have faced lethal consequences, making the warnings against Peso Pluma especially alarming. The aftermath prompted heightened security measures in Tijuana for concerts and public events, with authorities monitoring potential risks associated with performers of narco-corridos. While Peso Pluma continued his tour elsewhere, his experience highlighted the intersection of music and criminal influence in Mexico, serving as a reminder that in regions dominated by cartels, even celebrated musicians who have reached international fandom can be forced to contend with threats to their lives. The incident illustrates how entertainment, fame, and art can collide with criminal power, leaving artists like Hassan navigating a world where a single performance could trigger deadly consequences.